Stop like curling up in your corner and just being sad. Like appreciate all the lessons that Appa taught you, my dad taught me, and let's go. So I said, all right.
Welcome back to another episode of Ordinary People. This is part 2 of my interview with Steve. He just shared about his recent passing of his father and the loss of a loved one. And we left off him describing the details of what he was going through, really trying to internalize and deal with all the emotional turmoil that comes along with it. But it's the present day today, and he's made a pretty big turn in his life just within the last year. So we're going to dive right into Steve finishing up on how you properly coped with it, and I guess it all ties back together with when you came back home. So if you could just continue where we.
It's good to be back.
For 5 minutes before.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. I mean, to keep it simple, man, because obviously I could go on and on about the trials and tribulations over the past year, but like after he passed, like I said, I went through my bout of I was depressed, man.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like I had a purpose in life anymore. My dad was my drive, but he's no longer there. So I said, okay, well, if he was here today, what would he want you to do?
Yeah.
Right? Like if he was here right now, what would he be telling you in your ear, like he was doing every year of your life, every 27 years of your life, right? And the way I coped with it was just, all right, cool. Well, let me go ahead and find this purpose in life. Like, what am I gonna do to really get that drive back? How am I gonna take care of my mom, right? How am I gonna make sure that my brother and sister are good? How am I gonna make sure that my sister's kids are good? Just my whole family. And I said, all right, well, stop. Stop like curling up in your corner and just being sad. Like appreciate all the lessons that Appa taught you, my dad taught me, and let's go. So I said, all right. Well, I went back to school for a little bit. I've always wanted to learn how to code just because I like making apps. So I did that. So I started doing a little bit of studying on my own as well, just because I knew that I wanted to get back into tech. I just signed the job offer yesterday.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, man. It was, the past 3 months have been rough. Interviewing for jobs, like a job in and of itself, like it was crazy, man. Coming from a startup and trying to get into another tech company, it was a process, right? Just because, again, well, first of all, New York City is competitive as hell, right? And the position that I was trying to apply for, a lot of competition. So I was really studying hard for it. Every day had my own schedule, and that was really important for me, man. And maybe I'm jumping back a little bit, but we talk about coping, and like for me to like kind of get a routine back in my life, that was paramount to me. Like that was so imperative for me to like have a routine. Like, okay, I'm waking up at 5, I'm going to the gym, I'm starting my day like when I'm applying for jobs, like I'm gonna apply to 5 different companies a day, get on the phone in the afternoon, study at night, just like keeping myself busy. That was really important to me, because otherwise that would have been time spent continuing to be sad and thinking about other things, right?
Would you say, so for anyone who's whatever it might be, would you say that's key to what really helped you just getting that schedule in?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, everybody's different.
Of course.
That being said, I think that I can confidently say though that if humans, we're passionate about different things, right? So like the passions that you have can overlap with some of the passions that I have, but we also have differing passions. But if you can find your passion and you can find something like a hobby that you really enjoy, and you dedicate a set amount of time to it every single day, then your mind is concentrated only on that, right? And then it gives you like another purpose in life.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, I want to get really good at making videos. I want to get really good at the piano. I want to get really good at XYZ. And for me, it was, okay, well, number one, I want to get back into tech, and I really want to get this position to manage product. But at the same time, I was also picking up music again. I was teaching myself saxophone. I used to play a long time ago. My dad had a nice big drum set downstairs. Started banging on the drums, which is a very good stress reliever, by the way. just like you know, and it was really cool.
Oh man. And so, for someone who is in that rough because of a series of events that happened in their life, you know, what's one piece of advice, solid advice that you give to someone who might be watching?
I think that what's worked for me is just weekly goals, man. I mean, just setting weekly, like, what do I want to achieve this week, right? Like, we all know kind of what we want to achieve in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, but taking the time to say, okay, well, how am I gonna break this like big, hairy, audacious goal into small pieces so that I can actually achieve it? So, like, what worked for me, just like every week, I'm like, okay, like, hey, this is what I want to get done. Here, and then in my mind I start internalizing, okay, here's how I'm going to get it done, and then it motivates you, because every week you're like, okay, I see this progress, right? So let's use working out as a small example. I'm like, okay, I want to look like this in a month, or like I want to achieve this like in 2 months or whatever. Breaking that down into weekly goals, and then seeing the progress every single week motivates me to keep going. Same thing can be said with anything. Like videos for you, maybe you're like, okay, I want to have this many videos by the end of 2018. So
what do I have to do?
Exactly. What do I have to do every week to do that? How many interviews do I have to do? Who am I going to do it with? How many videos do I have to record every week? So just, and you know this already, but breaking that down and then seeing the results like visually, that's what kept me going. I'm like, wow, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, I did this much. Let me continue this. You know?
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, I hope anyone who's watching was able to take away from the fact that if you look at your life and just break it down into smaller pieces and really try to tackle it piece by piece, because Steve had just overcome some of the biggest obstacles I think that a lot of people will face. Everyone will face eventually.
Yeah.
And how do you rebound at a point where, you know, you're still being productive? And I think it was key for me when you told me if my dad was still here,
right,
and he was sitting next to me, he would tell me, or I guess what he would say to you is, you know, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, this isn't what I want out of you. This isn't what I taught you.
Yeah. No.
So I think that kind of realizing that it's not about the past. You're looking to the present and the future, right?
Yeah.
So I think that for me was powerful to me.
No, for sure, man. So this might sound funny, but it did help. I would have like made up conversations, like between me and my dad. Like, we all know our dads, right? Like, we know exactly what they're gonna say at certain moments. Like, you know, like, your dad well enough where if you say one thing, you know what response you're gonna get from him, right? So there would be times when I would just like look at his picture and just start talking. I'm just like, I did this today, and then like I would kind of in his voice like, oh, that's so, yeah. just like start talking to myself, and even little things like that, man. I mean, it sounds kind of funny. But it helped me, man. Like I do that even today. Like it helps just because like you feel like he or whoever it is still there with you, like trying to guide you along your path. So yeah, cool. It was cool.
Well, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Steve, thanks so much for sharing about such an intimate part of your life, bro. And I hope this actually inspires someone else, encourages someone else who's really battling with whatever they might be going through. So thank you for watching another episode of Ordinary People.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
How do you think that went?
There's gonna be